Very dear students, Assalamu alaikum. The topic of this presentation is untranslatability of Quran, and here it is part 1. This topic has been basically divided into two parts. In this part, we are going to discuss these major points. What is untranslatability? So we want to have a workable uh, concept of untranslatability so that we can go forward. The second point is Quran as a linguistic miracle. Third, some reasons for untranslatability of the Quran. And number 4 is analyzed examples of untranslatability. And this further has been subdivided into 4 things here in part 1: form, word order, the special syntactic structure, and semantico-syntactic interrelation. Let's take this little simple and straightforward kind of definition of untranslatability. So untranslatability is a property of the text or speech, which is uttered text or oral text, for which no equivalent can be found when translated into another language. These 3 lines can give us a very good clear idea of what is meant in general by this concept in translation studies, that is untranslatability, that finding an equivalent, regardless of the kind of equivalent, because there are many kinds of equivalent, finding the equivalent of a source text in the target language, if we don't find that, so this phenomenon is called uh, untranslatability. Usually, untranslatability has been divided into 2 parts: linguistic untranslatability, and that means lexical items, phrases, structure, syntactic complexities; cultural untranslatability as well, that idiomatic phrases, proverbs, words and phrases for special social, religious, and customary phenomena. The second point of this presentation is Quran as a linguistic miracle, and this is a very known fact from the very beginning. In the Quran, when the Quran was revealed, and it was revealed and its first audience were the masters. They were Arabs. They were the pure Arabs living in the desert life, and they were masters of art of oratory, and they were rhetoric, master of rhetoric, poetry, and rhymed prose. So these 4 characteristics were part and parcel of their literary and social life. But despite all that, they confessed their inability to imitate the text of the Quran, whatever the size of that text. It may have been 1 verse or 2 verses and or so. So when the Quran was revealed, and it is an immortal and inimitable text, so it challenged the first opponents, and especially the opponents. And here we have some of the verses that indicate to this fact. The first one is وَإِن كُنْتُمْ فِي رَيْبٍ مِّمَّا نَزَّلْنَا عَلَىٰ عَبْدِنَا فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ. And if ye are in doubt as to what we have revealed from time to time to our servant, then produce like a surah thereunto it. So bring a surah similar to that what is being revealed to our servant from time to time. So that was actually a challenge given to especially the opponents, and they were Arabs, as I said earlier. Another verse which is which is challenging those audience, especially the opponents, from different aspects, and it is وَلَوْ كَانَ مِنْ عِنْدِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ لَوَجَدُوا فِيهِ اخْتِلَافًا كَثِيرًا. Had it been from other than God, they would surely have found therein much discrepancy. So not finding the discrepancy, and here we are concerned with the discrepancy that is related to the linguistic competence and stylistic mastery and rhetorical excellence. So all these although the meaning of of this verse is very general, but here we want to confine it to the linguistic miracle of the Quran. So when opponents claim that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam invented it, they were asked to. So there is another angle, in this verse, challenging the opponents and the Arabs. أم يقولون تقوله بل لا يؤمنون فليأتوا بحديث مثله إن كانوا صادقين. So, or do they say he fabricated the message? Nay, they have no faith. Let them produce a recital like unto it, if it be they speak the truth. And in another verse, we see that uh, the same challenge is repeated with different words. أم يقولون افتراه قل فأتوا بعشر سور مثله مفتريات وادعوا من استطعتم من دون الله إن كنتم صادقين. So the addition here is that whosoever he can other than God, if he speak truth. So you can get help from your allies, from the people who are around you, those who are supporting you, those who are opposing the Quran or the of the Quranic text and the prophethood of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And here it is more elaborate that قل إن اجتمعت الإنس والجن على أن يأتوا بمثل هذا القرآن لا يأتون بمثله ولو كان بعضهم لبعض ظهيرا. So say if the whole of mankind on one side and whole of jinn on the other side were together to produce the like of the Quran, they could not produce the like thereof, even if they backed each other with help and support. And I think we can hear with the help of this Quranic verse, we can understand the the comprehensiveness of this challenge to these people, not to these people, to the humanity, and even to the jinnis. The third point in this lecture is some reasons for untranslatability. So we can see these major reasons why Quranic text is untranslatable. So best of the Arab poets and rhetoricians and linguists fail to bring the like of the Quran. How this is a very important aspect. If those who were expert in Arabic language and they were the first audience and they knew everything about the rhyme, prose, and poetry and delicacies of all these things, they could not produce a single verse challenging the Quran, or they could not accept the challenge of the Quran. So how a bilingual and bicultural can succeed in reproducing the text of Quran? So this is very important here, because this becomes a miracle is a translation miracle for the translator. So it's a big challenge for the translator. It's a twofold challenge. On the one side the Arabic language, on the other side transferring the meaning of the Quranic Arabic into another language. So difference of time when Quran was revealed. Now, especially now, these people are not, of course, living, the translators, they are not living in the same era. So this time difference also coupled with this the language is different, and they are not expert in Arabic language. They cannot become expert in the Arabic language as the first audience, the first, the opponents of the Islam or the Arabs were. So another reason for untranslatability is the languages, families, and their distinct features. The languages, they have their own distinct features, and transferring these features, all these features from one language to another language, is a great challenge in general, and especially if it is related to the religious text. And here we are concerned with the revealed religious text called Quran. So for the translator, it is insurmountable linguistic and ethical intricate problem to, of course, translate the Quranic text into any other language. Here, of course, we are talking about the English. Turner, one of the English translators, whose translation was published in 1979, while he was translating, he thought to stop trying translation because he found himself unable to transfer the meanings of the Quran in the language that actually it was his native language. Irving, another native speakers of English language, whose translation was published in 1985, he says that translation is a living text. So each time one returns to Arabic, he finds new or fresh meaning. So it's not easy to translate the Quranic text. So this inability of the Irving is from a different aspect, because each new reading brings new inspiration and new meanings, or at least unleashes new meanings of the Quranic text. Multiple semantic layers that are the embedded in Quranic text. Another reason, cadence is used. There are many features that are essential part of the Quranic text. One of them is cadence, and it is used for euphony, the musical sound, symphony, rhythmical flow of the Quranic discourse. So importance of the above features in conveying the meaning. So it's not easy to convey the meanings while we have all these reasons. So loss of what happens, a loss of semantic properties, a linguistic and stylistic splendor in the Quran translations. Uh, there is a debate among the Quran translators, especially and in general in the area of translation studies, whether sincerity is enough to translate Quran, or sincerity versus human weakness in dealing with the Quran translation. So, people are sincere, supposedly they are sincere, or they were sincere to translate the Holy Quran, but on the other hand, I know that there are weaknesses, their own personal weaknesses, and they cannot overcome these weaknesses, and cannot succeed in translating the Quranic text into English language. Some people, they propose solution for this situation, and we have two here in this slide. One is the translation should be made collectively. So instead of the translation is done by one individual, it should be a teamwork, and one is translating, the other is revising, the other is checking other aspects, and so on. Another solution that is proposed by the researcher is that the translation incorporated with the exegesis. It is a kind of you can say the meaning, the underlying meaning of the Quranic text should be incorporated in the translation. Now, the fourth point and the last point here, but it is subdivided into form, word order, the special syntactic structures, and semantico-syntactic interrelations. So, analyze examples of untranslatability. Through these examples, we try to understand what we have learned theoretically before. So, in case of words, semantic importance of the morphological forms, it is the very interesting feature of the Arabic language in general, and Quranic language in particular, that the morphological forms, they have their own unique semantic features. For example, if I say alim, it means the one who knows, and if I say alim, the basic meaning is same, the one who knows. But the difference between this alim, which is a morphological form of fa'il, and alim, which is the morphological form is fa'il, is that in fa'il form, in alim form, here in this example, the knowledge is permanent, the knowledge is very wide, whereas the basic meaning of both is that the one who knows. So alim, the one who knows, the one alim, the one who knows, but alim, in the case of alim, the one who knows, and his knowledge is permanent, and is not temporary. It is eternal knowledge, and it continues, and it is very comprehensive knowledge. So you see the morphological forms here in these examples, they are carrying special meanings, or they have their own distinct meanings into them. The example is Ar-Rahman, which is on the morphological form of Fa'alan, the most gracious in English translation, but it is a hyperbole. So Fa'alan, which means wideness, fullness, and coverage of mercy, and of course the forgiveness. And Ar-Rahim is Fa'il, the most merciful. Both are of course used for this, but the morphological form Fa'alan for which Ar-Rahman is used is much wider, is much deeper, is much full and much has much coverage. So the fa'il also wide is but less than fa'lan. This is on the one side. The other side, this Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, the order of Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim in Quran, it is like that, that first of all Ar-Rahman occurs and then fa'il Ar-Rahim occurs. So this is the this is opinion of very famous Quran commentator Az-Zamakhshari. Another example of words is that we have maftuhun. Maftuhun means open, and mufattahun also open. You see, maftuh is open and mufattah is open. Both are derived from this basic form is fa ta ha, which means open. And now see the Quranic verse: Jannat adnin mufattahatan lahumul abwabu. The translation is gardens of eternity, where doors will ever be open to them. So there is a difference between maftuh and mufattah. So difference, maftuh is open, but mufattah or mufattahatun, open automatically, as Al-Qurtubi has analyzed it, and say open and they will be open in the paradise. And we can also add that not only say, they can just think about opening of the door and the door will be opened. So the basic meaning of maftuh and mufattah is open, but the uh, the the semantic properties are different in maftuh and mufattah, as we have seen here. Another example is we compare this Khawan and versus Kha'in. Both are, from the root word Kha Waw Noon, which means to deceive, and Khawan is takes the morphological form of Fa'al, which means traitor, and its hyperbole as special emotive and practical value, whereas Fa'al again is traitor but without emotive significance. So this verse, Inna Allah la yuhibbu man kana khawanan athima. So if it is translated khawanan, only traitor, and it is actually translated as traitor, so this translation does not convey the complete semantic properties embedded in this morphological form and this word khawan. We have these two forms used in one ayah, which is the form, of course, is the fa'ul, and the word is kafur, and the other one is fa'il, the word is shakir. So disbelieving with emphasis, and fa'il shakir, of course, is grateful without emphasis. And the Quranic verse is this one: Inna hadaynahu sabila imma shakiran wa imma kafura. So the shift is semantically motivated. This shakiran, which is the word used on the morphological form of fa'il, and then after that kafura, the word kafuran is used on the morphological form of fa'ul. So kafur is found to indicate that majority of the people are ungrateful, as this Quranic verse suggests, whereas the shakir fa'il to indicate that minority of the people are grateful. So, and this topic or this concept has been mentioned elsewhere in Quran as well. That وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشُّكُورِ. So few people of my servant are really grateful, or they are not grateful to my bounties and what I provide to them, and so on and so forth. So using the form, for a morphological form, fa'il, which is shakir, and fa'ul, it indicates these semantic properties. Okay, the B is word order, which is the Arabic term used for this word order is nazm, the special arrangement of the words in the Quran. And this special arrangement has a semantic and rhetorical role in communication. And in Arabic, of course, among the Arabic scholars and of course the researchers, there is a complete theory called Nazariyatul Nazm, which is a theory of we can say the word order, or theory of the special arrangement of the word in Quranic text. Let's take one example here of this one. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya bin khairin faqir. So let's see the a little meaning of each words here. Rabbi, O my Lord, inni indeed I am, lima for what, anzalta you sent, ilayya to me, min of any khairin good, faqir needy. So the red colored faqir is our topic here, and this this faqir has been backgrounded. Actually, in the normal order, it should have been foregrounded, like here, that the normal order is Rabbi inni faqirun lima anzalta ilayya min khairin. So why? There is a purpose behind backgrounding the word faqir here in this verse. So instead of bringing it in after inni faqir, bringing it here, it has been backgrounded. It has been used after khair. So Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir, which means, O my Lord, truly I am in desperate need of any good that thou dost send me. So Ali translation, as we have seen, has foregrounded in target language what was actually backgrounded in source language, and it has significance here. The significance is communicative value has been lost in the translation. So, what is the purpose of backgrounding the word fakir? We can mention some of the purposes here. That good is in abundance, all good is sent by the God, realization of need in one's mind and heart is the prerequisite for the existence of good. So with these three probable purposes of this backgrounding of the word fakir here in this verse, we can go back to the verse and see Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqirin, and also inni lima anzalta ilayya, we can add to it, then we can say that all the good has been given and it is the mercy of God to the humanity. Okay, another example of the word order or النظم للذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة مثل السوء ولله المثل الأعلى. First, the translation. We see the similitude of evil applies to those who do not believe in the hereafter. However, the highest and the best similitude of all applies to God. Again, we see that the backgrounding of foregrounded elements in the normal order, it would have been like this: مثل السوء للذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة والمثل الأعلى لله. The word lillah is missing here in this what I call as a normal order. So we see here that it is actually the foregrounded mathalusa, which has been backgrounded in Quranic words. So there are semantic stylistic reasons that did not reflect in the translation. One of the reasons that we can just quickly mention here, that the similitude of the evil, especially in this case, becomes is the result of those who do not believe. Another example, which is very interesting, can be very interesting: compressed word order, syntactic compression of a whole syntactic structure in one word. So the word have been three examples have been mentioned here, but I have analyzed only one. فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمْ فَأَسْقَيْنَاكُمُوهُ and أَنُلْزِمُكُمُوهَا. So let's take the first one only. فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمْ. Five words have been compressed in one word, made one word. So fa, sin, yakfi, ka, hum, five words, and they have been compressed in one word. The complete, syntactic, let's say, the pattern have been compressed in one word. So the meaning is that, but God will save thee against them. So a single word represents a complete grammatical pattern for syntactic and semantic analytical reason. One of the reason is that fa sayakfikahum, that the God will save you against them. There is no space, there is no time, quickly, in a precise manner. That as these words have been compressed in a very compressed and instant manner, the Allah will save you against your enemies. The C is special syntactic structure, which is the one example is omission of the subject and verb plus foregrounded objects. So objects have been foregrounded and the verb have been omitted. It's not mentioned here. So one example is وَالْخَيْلَ وَالْبِغَالَ وَالْحَمِيرَ لِتَرْكَبُوهَا وَزِينَةً. And within the bracket, he has created, this is what I was talking about, the omission of the subject and the verb. So he has created horses, mules and donkeys for you to ride and use for show. And this omission actually is for the sake of core text, because immediately after that it comes وَيَخْلُقُ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ, and he creates what you do not know. So foregrounded objects to emphasize on the significance of these animals in the life of the first audience, and especially and also in general. And the D1, which is the fourth one, is semantic or syntactic interrelations. That the phenomenon has various ways, like, and I have given you a list, which is not exhaustive one. Prepositions, conjunctions, future tense particle, feminine verb for masculine subject, and selection of specific form out of available other forms, preferring singular over plural, and vice versa, using present tense immediately after the past tense. So let's take few examples of this phenomenon. Is semantic or syntactic interrelations. Preposition: وَإِنَّا أَوْ إِيَّاكُمْ لَعَلَى هُدًى أَوْ فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. First, the translation, and behold, either we who believe in him or you who deny his oneness are on the right path or have clearly gone astray. We see that two prepositions have been used here, which is ala, which basically means on, and fi, which basically means in. So ala is employed before the word huda, which means right path. Why it has been? What are the semantic reasons? The reason is elevated position of those who are on the right path. Allah is on, and they can see the world better. They have holistic view of everything, and they are not narrow-minded people. On the other hand, fi, which means in, is used before dalal, which means go astray, for the reasons of that dalal, the low position of dalal, which is going astray, where people are narrow-minded, unable to think properly as they are in darkness. So all above the features are lost in English translation and in translation in general, because it is actually the limit, or the limit of the translation, or the weakness of the translation or the translator, that cannot grasp all these meanings in his or her translations. And the semantic or syntactic interrelations and we see that the conjunction versus future tense particle. The example that we are going to take here, summa is a conjunction, which means then, and sa, it is used before the future tense particle, which means will or shall. So use of summa and sa before future tense. The example is here is that we see that in one verse, summa is used before the word turaduna, which is future tense, and in the second example, sa is used after before the future tense, which is turaduna again. So وَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ ثُمَّ تُرَدُّونَ إِلَى عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ. So it is your actions that Allah and His Messenger will observe. In the end, you will ye be brought back to Him who knoweth that is hidden and what is open. فَسَيَرَى اللَّهُ عَمَلَكُمْ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَسَتُرَدُّونَ إِلَى عَالِمِ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ. Soon will Allah observe your work and His Messenger and the believers. Soon will ye be brought back to the knower of what is hidden and what is open. We see that the Piqtal, Arbari, Asad, Ali, Al-Hilali and Khan, they provide the same meaning for both the structure. Summa turadduna again. Here we see that summa turadduna. The ye will be brought back, and then ye in the end, or at the end, in the end ye will be brought back. So the meaning is true. Whereas summa turadduna, which is the conjunction summa, is used here, it signifies a threat of punishment. On the other hand, sa turadduna, the particle sa is used before the future tense. It signifies a pledge to reward, but it has not been reflected in the translation. So their meanings are based on the core text. So refer back to the verses before these verses 90 to 93. So it becomes very clear that summa turadduna is a threat and saturadduna is a pledge to reward. However, the translations could not capture the underlying semantic significance. Now, let's take the example of past tense followed by the present or future tense immediately. Inna lazina kafaru wa yasudduna an sabilillah. So, first the translation: as to those who have rejected God and would keep back men from the way of God. As kafaru, which means have rejected, is a past tense. Yasudduna, after kafaru, is used to convey the semantic function of what. Yasudduna is a future tense, so it is used after past tense immediately. So what is the semantic significance of using this present or future tense immediately after the past tense is it's a continuity and a reversal of an ongoing process where these people continue keep other men back from the way of they will try to stop the people from these ways. So dear students, with this our lecture ends here. Take very good care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum.